What does a Karen eat for breakfast? Well, it has to be at least a teaspoon of entitledness. Hey everybody, it's me, Asinellus, and welcome back to another video. Welcome back to Reddit. Welcome to r/EntitledParents. And I may have started this video off with a joke, but the first story will be anything but funny. So grab your popcorn, put on your seatbelts, and get ready to enjoy the ride. There's no happy ending to this one. Hello again. Today I decided is a good day to tell a story about the entitled dad that turned my whole life upside down. So let's get on with this. This happened 6 years ago. It was a week after my birthday and we decided to throw a late birthday party. My parents were busy with work on my actual birthday, so we rescheduled the party. I invited quite a few of my friends, but one of them didn't show up. His father called my parents saying he'd be late to the party. The party was from 7 PM to 12 AM. He never showed up. Once the party was over, we were heading towards home. We were about 5 to 10 minutes from Oslo, because we had the party at our lodge just outside the city, and talking about how fun the party was. The conversation was cut short when a vehicle drifted into our lane and collided with us. I blacked out. When I woke up in a hospital bed, I started to panic. But the doctor that was running tests on me to make sure I'm okay, told me to calm down and that I was alright. After about 20 to 30 minutes of questioning and small tests, I asked the big question. Sir, where are my parents? The doctor basically froze there for 10 seconds and responded, and I'll never forget what he told me. OP, I'm sorry, but your parents didn't survive the crash. My parents were deceased. I was informed that my dad was killed on impact and my mum was pronounced dead when she arrived at the hospital with me. I couldn't believe it. I wanted to cry. But all I felt was anger. I knew the person who drifted into my lane was at fault, so I asked who crashed into us. It was my friend's dad, the goddamn ED. Apparently, ED was under the influence of something when he arrived, and is currently handcuffed to a hospital bed. One of the nurses told me later that he was demanding help before his son could be treated. His son, that was on goddamn life support because of the accident. He was sent to jail for a DUI, and I don't know if he's been released or not, but if he's out there, he better hope we don't cross paths. I'm currently living in a foster home with a wonderful family who treat me like I'm their own flesh and blood. But as long as I'm alive, I'll never forget my real parents, and I'll never forget my best friend, and I'll never forgive ED for what he's done. Thank you for listening. And in an edit, for all of you wondering, my friend did pass away 3 days after the accident, and I don't know if the father has been charged with anything more than a DUI, but there is a high probability that he was charged with manslaughter. And yes, I do hope he's still rotting in a jail cell. He shouldn't be allowed to walk the streets, if he is at all. For all the people asking why he's entitled, he was demanding help from the nurses before his son. I have more stories about his entitlement before the accident, but I'll save those for another time. Wow, I really don't know what to say in response to this story, other than I hope that this person is alright, and maybe a warning that if you're under the influence of something, be it drugs, alcohol, whatever, just don't drive. Alright, and for the second one, we've got another story in the slightly more lighthearted entitled parent style. EM yells at me for wearing a tank top on a school trip because her son shouldn't see that. 1. Most of the girls were wearing them because it's 100 degrees. 2. I'm a teacher. The players are me, entitled mum, Mrs. T, who's my teacher, and Mrs. A, who's another teacher. I've been student teaching this spring in a 6th grade class. It's been a stressful semester, but a good one. Since day one, I've been treated 100% like a colleague and equal by my teacher and her grade level partners. I'm very baby-faced and don't always look I'm in my 20s. But I know these kids very well. I subbed for them a lot last year and in the past fall, so they already have respect for me and I have a decent relationship. This week, we're on a camping trip with 4 total classes. I finished student teaching, but my teacher invited me on as a teacher to get the experience. We mostly hang in the medical lodge and make sure kids take their meds each day. Easy gig after months of teaching. The kids are happy to see me. Anyways, we arrived at camp. I rode on the bus with my teacher, 2 of the other teachers drove their cars with students' luggage, and so did some parents. I got off the bus and started to head down to the lodge with the other teachers for our meeting with the camp director and the counsellors. I stopped off to fill my water bottle before heading down. As I finished up, a mum came up to me. I smiled and was about to greet her.
You can't wear that.
Excuse me?
Young lady, this is so inappropriate for a school setting. You're going to distract my son and all the other boys. I'm going to have to ask you to change as soon as we get to our cabins.
For reference, I was wearing jeans, a black undershirt, and a tank top with thick straps that covered my bra. You literally only saw my black undershirt that kept my bra from being seen through my shirt. Oh, and it was 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I let out a small chuckle. I thought it was a silly mix-up we could laugh about later. Nope, that set her off.
Don't you dare laugh. I'm serious. Who is your teacher? You are so disrespectful. No wonder you're dressed like that, trying to get the boys' attention, I bet.
I put on my best polite teacher dealing with parents smile. Whose parent are you? She told me. Her kid was a troublemaker from another class. Mrs. EM, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I'm not a student. I'm a teacher. And the camp's dress code allows my students to wear tank tops. So do not ask them to change.
Now you're lying to me? Where is your teacher? I'm getting you sent home.
One of my parents' teachers, Mrs. A, overheard the yelling and came over, also in a tank top. Is there something you need, Miss OP? I shook my head. No, I was just introducing myself to Mrs. EM. She didn't know Mrs. T had a student teacher this year. Mrs. A nodded earnestly. Miss OP has been such an asset to all of us this semester. Your son actually got a few science lessons from her this year. She's going to be a great teacher. EM was absolutely red in the face. Later that afternoon, we brought all the parents down to our air-conditioned lodge to talk them through the week ahead. Mrs. T, who is kind of our grade's team captain, introduced me to the parents. Everyone except EM was happy to meet me, and a few even said their kids loved having me as one of their teachers. The best part of the week so far was when her son ran up to me at dinner and asked in front of his mum, Miss OP, can you teach 7th grade next year so you can be one of my teachers? I'm gonna miss you. The ending was just so sweet. The mum's still not approving of her being a teacher or wearing a tank top, and her kid just loving OP. And I mean, I've got to give credit to all the teachers out there. Honestly, it's a nightmare dealing with entitled kids, but entitled parents are so much worse.
My baby is so smart. Why did he only get 50% for his test?
It's because your kid didn't study and is not the angel that you think he is. Entitled mum demands I let her son grab my girlfriend's breasts. Okay, so this happened last summer and it was blazing hot where I live. So me and my former girlfriend wanted to go get ice cream. Since it was really hot, she was wearing a low-cut shirt that showed a bit of cleavage, but not an inappropriate amount. This will become important later in the story. So the place we chose to get ice cream was a place I often go to. Let's call the place Jerry's Ice Cream, since I go there often and the owner Jerry knows me pretty well, and he often gives me a discount or free ice cream. When we get there, it's pretty full of people, so me and my girlfriend step in the line. I look to my right and see EM and ES sitting at a table with their ice creams. ES looks about 13 or 14, clearly staring at my girlfriend, and it doesn't really bother me, because I'm used to it, since she's really attractive. We order our ice cream, and Jerry gives it to us, and I ask him how much it will be. He says I don't need to pay, and that it's on the house. We begin to walk to a table when we walk past EM and ES's table. EM whispered something into ES's ear. We sit down at our table and ES begins walking towards us with a creepy grin on his face. He then puts his effing hand on my girlfriend's right breast and he proceeds to squeeze. I then act a bit irrational and give him a right hook right in his little face. He falls to the ground and begins crying his little face out. And then EM, a big woman with a "can I speak to the manager" haircut, storms over to us.
How dare you hit my baby?
He grabbed my... She pauses me.
He's just curious about the female body. And your girlfriend is also seducing my little boy with her clothing, so she's asking for it.
She says while wearing a really low-cut tank top that shows stomach. My girlfriend is by now in tears since she had really low self-esteem.
Stop crying, you dumb S. You asked for this yourself.
ES has by now stopped crying and is walking towards my girlfriend again. Jerry has seen what's going on and has pointed the security cameras towards us and has called the police. ES tries to grab my girlfriend, but she pushes him. EM begins to choke her.
How dare you touch my son, you S?
I push her away from my girlfriend and she drops her bag and a concealed handgun falls out. An officer comes in and sees her put her gun in her purse. She then tries to pick it up. The officer, drop the gun. She legit storms off without her son. ES just stands there. The officer calls for backup and the police classify her as a dangerous armed suspect. A canine unit chase her and she just keeps running, so they released the dog on her. And when she was on the ground with the dog on her, she tried to push the dog off, so the dog bit her.
EM said she would sue the police.
She got charged with aggravated assault, harassment, and evading police. She had to spend 2 years behind bars, and we got 4 free ice creams at Jerry's. I mean, I see so many things wrong with this story. Just telling your kid to go and grab a girl's breasts, that's not normal. And let me get this moment back up.
How dare you touch my son?
That is hypocrisy at its finest. You just told your son to basically come up and grope this girl, and then when this girl tries to defend herself, you start choking her? Alright guys, that's it from me. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to scroll down and subscribe to the channel. There are plenty of videos just like this. Reddit videos come out every second day, and occasionally some other video might pop up just because I felt like it. But for now guys, I hope that you all enjoyed, and all I want to do is see you all here next time. See you later guys.